Hello guys, today I will be teaching you how to do a live axle suspension. I found a few tutorials on how to do this, but none of them really helped me because most of them had loud music or crappy voice quality or they just didn't work. So I was up for about 3 hours last night troubleshooting how to do this. Let me tell you that none of those tutorials actually helped me at all. I had to do this all myself. I finally just troubleshooted it all and I finally got it all working. So I'm going to be teaching you how to build something like this. If you don't know, the advantages to live axle is that when one wheel is on top of a big rock or whatever you're crawling over, when one axle is on top of it and the other one's not, Mr. Car, okay, let's do it like that then. If one's on it and the other one's not, like so, it will push the other tire down and push the tire into the ground, giving this tire a lot of traction, and along with this tire. So it gives both the tires the same amount of traction, no matter what type of terrain you're on. So let's go ahead and get started. So, yeah, I'm going to undo that real fast. Anyway, so the first thing you want to do is go to plates, and I'm going to be teaching you how to build the actual entire car now with the updated suspension and everything that I made. So you go ahead and go to 72 by 192. Now you can go ahead and use the same type of suspension, the same process on any one of your cars. This is just going to be a test car. It's going to look similar to the other car. So other than that, you want to go to blocks 6 by, let's go 84. Because it doesn't need to be longer or wider than the actual base prop itself, but I would just prefer it that way. So go ahead and just move this into place. So go ahead and hit point 1 on the outer corner of the top one right here, and then hit point 2 on the outer corner of the base plate and just move it, and then precision move it down, let's say let's go about that far. About that works. Actually, let's pull it up one. Alright, so this is exactly 30 units, so go to precision and push/pull percent of target's depth, put that to 30, and make sure this is off, and just push it down once, and then it'll be exactly where it is here. So now I'm going to do it the lazy way and just mirror it to the other side. So to do this, you click plane dash hit pose plus hit normal, and click in the center, or neither center with snap sensitivity up, and then go to plane dash hit normal, and click any 90-degree angle facing the way that you want the mirrored prop to go. So you can click the wall, you can click here, and then just right click the prop that you want to mirror, press R, go to rotation functions, mirror across plane, plane 1, and shift left click rotate entity. What that does is if you do not press shift left click, if you just left click rotate entity, it will just move your entity over here. If you shift left click, it will duplicate your entity over here. Alright, so we're pretty close to already being we're well on our way to already having this done. So now there are many ways to put the ropes up onto your car, but the important thing to know is that first of all, they have to be rigid, but the important thing to know is that the only thing the ropes on this car have to do is stop the axle from going front to back. They don't have to stop it from going side to side, just front to back. So you can either put them from the sensor all the way to the back up here, or from the sensor all the way to the middle around here, or whatever you want to do. I'm going to put mine to the back. Now there's two ways to do this. You can either do it using precision alignment, which is faster, or you can just do it with normal ropes. I'm going to do it with normal ropes to just show you how to do it. Or actually, I'll do it with normal ropes on one side and with precision alignment on the other side, just so you guys can see exactly how to do it. So with normal ropes, make sure rigid is on, rigid is on, and then just whatever width you want it to be. The width has no actual value at all. It just allows you to see it. So I'm gonna go from the center, the very center of this, of the front one, of the front axle, has to be the center, to the outside corner of this. And I'm gonna do the same thing again on the other side. Basically what these ropes do is stop it, seeing how they're rigid, they stop it from going this way, and they stop it from going this way. They don't stop it from going up and down. Okay, now with precision alignment, it's pretty easy. So just go to point 1, hit pose, and hit the center of this plate. And then go to point 2, and hit this, and hit the very corner, or the opposite corner of that, and go to hit point 3 and hit that corner. So right now you should have 3 points. One here, one on the axle, and then one on each of the corners that you're going to put the ropes to. And then just right click the axle, press R, go to constraints, click point 1, and the reason why you're clicking point 1 is because you want to go from point 1 to point 2. So the rope from here to here. Oh, that's an axis. There's the axis. Crap. Alright, there we go. So click rope over here. Point 1 to point 2. Width 1, I guess. And then make sure rigid is on. And just click create constraint. Now I see a rope there. So now put entity 2 here down to point 3, because you want it to go from point 1 to point 3. Just click once more time. And now you're done with the ropes. So now go to wire hydraulic, and go to the very corner of where you click, where you put the ropes on, and just right click, and then left click the pod controller right over next to it. Don't click it at the exact same point that you did that, because you might need to add more hydraulics to keep your vehicle stable depending on how heavy it is. Oops. Alright, so now the only thing left to do is to ball socket these to the actual base plate. So go to ball socket advanced, go to your slave settings, which is all minimums are negative 0.1 and all maximums are 0.1. I would recommend clicking this little wrench up here and saving it as a slave socket, because that's what I did and it helps a lot. So anyways, put Y minimum down to negative 45 and Y maximum to 45. And the reason for this is because Y controls up and down, as we all know. If you wanted to be able to go up and down, then you would set the Y's, and the X minimum and X maximum being 0.1 values, I guess, keep it from rotating this way, and the Z's keep it from rotating this way. So anyways, so now just click this, the axle, and click the base plate. Do the same on the other side. And now it's time for the steering prop. So go into plates and go get your steering prop. Doesn't have to be any particular one. Just the fatter it is, or the wider it is, the more stability it's going to have, or it's going to be better at turning. Can't really explain it. There's a great video on Spider004's channel on what wider props do and what thicker props do. Anyways, so go ahead and move that there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and stack one behind it, just because I'm too lazy to do this. Alright, so now just basically move another one right behind it of the same prop. And now weld the one behind, or the one that you don't want to turn, just weld that one to the base plate. And then go to axis sensor, and just axis sensor this one, the one you want to turn, to the base plate. Make sure that you don't have any rotation friction or torque limit or force limit. Okay, so now once you've done that, go back to advanced ball socket and go back to your slave settings, and then make Z minimum negative 45, not 180, and then Z maximum 45. And what this will do is this will keep, and then you click the steering prop and then the base plate. What this will do is keep it from rotating all the way around and spazzing out your wheels. You don't want that. Okay, so now it's time for the hardest part, the putting the wheels on here. The back wheels I never had problems with because those are just access center to the axle. But the front wheels I did have some problems with. Anyways, so go ahead and get your wheels. I'm gonna go ahead and get a wheel 55s. Does that look about right? Yeah, it looks about right. Alright. And now for the back wheels, what you have to do is go to precision, ball socket, and then just ball socket the the middle of this wheel onto the middle of the axle. And you have to do this twice. And then you can just go ahead and move the back wheels there, because you don't need to ball socket these ones. So just move these ones over there. Alright, so now we have all four wheels here. Now, for the back axle, very simple. Just go to Access Center with the same settings that you put on the front wheel, and click the back wheels to the back axle. But before we do this, go to Make Spherical and just make spherical all your wheels. Okay. Now that I've done that, now you do your Access Center. So access the back wheels to the back axle. But now the front wheels, of course, are a little bit harder because you want them to turn. So go to Ball Socket, Advanced, put all minimums to -180 and all maximums to 180. Make sure free movement is checked, and click the wheel and then the axle. The wheel and then the axle. And now, go back to your slave settings again, and put X minimum to -180, and X maximum to 180, but leave the other two completely untouched. And then click the wheels, and then click your steering prop. What you've just done is created your steering. Now, these things won't look, this is not how it's going to look, because we haven't set the constants or anything for the hydraulics. But other than that, you have a steering car, and of course the back one here. That's how it looks so far. It's not done yet. It's a little bit wonky.
Hey guys, my mama said it was special.
Anyways, so now it's time for the E2s. Don't spaz out when I say E2. It's not that hard. It's very simple. So go to expression 2, make a new expression. I'm naming this live axle tutorial. Oops. And then put inputs to, I'm going to be making the entire car for you, so WASD, and then let's put space in there, and that seems like it's going to be it so far. So for the outputs, put length, constant damping for the hydraulics, and then constant 2 and damping 2 for the steering hydraulics. And then are we going to need any, throttle, and put throttle in there because we're going to be using an ACF engine. So now go around and look at what all of look at what the lengths are for the actual suspension ones, which is 29.94. So length equals 29.94. And let's put constant. My baseline for constants are always 50,000. My baselines for damping are always 2,000. And now let's put constant 2, because this is on our steering prop. It'll be much lighter than the wheels. So it doesn't have to carry everything. Let's put the constant to 15,000, and and the damping to 1000. And right now, all this is equals. Like, basically, this is just saying this equals that number. That's all it is. It's very simple. Alright, so what do we do now? Well, first off, I should probably put my steering hydraulics on there. So get out hydraulics, go to the end of your steering prop and just right click, and then place the pod controller, or not the pod controller, place the hydraulic controller somewhere that's not in the way of the hydraulic. Alright, so now you have that done. So go to back to expression and find out what these things are. These are 32.94, what length they're at. So 32.94, and type. We should also add L and R. So L and R are basically left and right hydraulic steering, basically. Basically the hydraulics are going to be on your steering plate. So L equals, what does it equal? 32.94? Crap. 32.94. This is just saying that the left hydraulic here equals 32.94 and the right hydraulic also equals 32.94 when they're not being used. And what the hell did you just do? Alright, so now, very simple. If, basically this statement, all this statement says is if this happens, then that is an effect of that happening. So if A, in parentheses, normal parentheses, if A is being pushed, basically, this is what that means. If A is being pushed, then now in squiggly brackets, then L minus equals, let's say, 15. And the reason why you do this is because you can't say L equals minus 15, because that will make it equal negative 15, and you don't want it to equal negative 15. You want it to just subtract 15 from the original value. So L minus equals 15, and then R plus, because you want it to be opposite, so R plus equals 15. And now if D is being pushed in squiggly brackets, L plus equals 15 and R minus equals 15. And now put throttle equals W times 100. And the reason why you do this is because ACF, you don't want to wire just the throttle to the W on the pod controller, because when W is being pushed, it has an output of 1. That's all it does. So you'll only be using 1% of the engine's throttle, or what the engine can output. But if you do throttle equals W times 100, since W equals 1, 1 times 100 is 100, which should basically just give you 100% of the throttle. Pretty simple. And now, let's also put brake in here. Oops, that's not a spell brake, because if it is, I've been doing it wrong the whole time. So brake and spaces for the brake. Alright, now type brake equals, oh no, if S is being pushed in squiggly brackets, brake equals 1, because brake does not use the increment system that the throttle does. It only uses, it's either on or off. It's not anything in between. It's only on or off. So now you've done the E2 now, so just go ahead and place that. I usually place it on my steering prop. It makes it easy to find. Then now it's just time to wire. Go back to advanced. Wire the length from the left side hydraulic for the steering prop to L. And then the length from the right one to R for right. Now go ahead and do constant to constant 2, because constant 2 is just the one for the steering props, and damping to damping 2. Alright, now it's just length to length, constant to constant, and damping to damping. So length from these goes to length. And then damping goes to damping, or constant goes to constant. Oops. and then damping goes to damping. Alright, so now you have these all wired up. The last thing really to do is to get your seat and put the ACF things on it. So right now, if we were to unfreeze this, or advanced duplicate it and then unfreeze it, you'd have a semi-normal looking car. You can see how that does happen, unfortunately. I'll try to work on a fix for that. I already have one in mind. So you see how they snap back into place? That's what damping does. That's what the constant and damping does. Constant makes it harder to push up and down, pull down. Damping makes it to where it doesn't bounce as much. So if I were to have more damping, it wouldn't do that little bouncing at the end there. Anyways, so I'm actually going to try to put a little stopper for that in there. I'm not sure if this works. I've never tried it before. But if it doesn't, then you can go ahead and just, whatever. So put if length is less than, it would be less than, right? So if length is less than, let's say, let's say 7. If length is less than 7 in normal parentheses, and now in squiggly parentheses, length equals 7. Else, this is saying if it does not equal less than 7, then in squiggly parentheses, length equals 29.94. This is just saying if length is less than 7, length equals 7, length will stay at 7. If not, then length equals 29.94, the original value. So now what this should do, in theory, is if it goes any less than 7, if these things go any less than 7, then it will push down. So that's 9. Okay, so now they should be pushing down, and they should try to equal that. They should not be able to go back up any higher. Yeah, okay, maybe not. I tried. You can't say I didn't try. Anyways, so now it's vehicles, chairs, airboat seat. And that's kind of what GMod is all about, is trying new things and actually experimenting. So basically, I'm just giving you the tools to make your cars, and then you make them, You have to try to add more things into it. So no collide that, and then let's go ahead and weld that. Alright. We're almost done, guys. Almost done. So go to ACF menu, mobility, engines, and for this I'm just going to use a V6, and let's say a 5.2 liter diesel. Always right click, no collide it. Then just precision hit pose the center of this one, and then move it to the center of your car. Oh, okay, I can sit in an engine. That's cool. So let's go ahead and move this back by 100% of its depth, and then weld that to the floor. Okay. So now we've done that. Last thing to do is differential and the gearbox. So go to gearboxes. Let's use a 8-speed inline small. Well, that's how much. 358, 248. It'll be a medium. Okay, 730. That's fine. I'm not gonna mess around with the values just yet. I'm just gonna leave these how they are. Just gonna spawn that there, and then right click, no collide. Go ahead and place this in by hand, which I absolutely hate doing, because it's never perfect. And if anyone has ever seen any of my other videos, you know that I'm a 100% perfectionist. I'm going to go ahead and angle it down a little bit too, just because the axle will be right down here and you want it to be able to link. So now I'm going to go ahead and see if these things link. Right click with the ACF menu, right click the engine, and then right click the gearbox. And then I'm going to go ahead and weld the gearbox into place now because that worked. So now go to differentials. Let's use the normal differential small, and let's angle it up at 45 degrees. And then let's right click no collide it. Then go to precision alignment, hit mass sensor, and then use 0.1 as the mass sensor on the differential, and right click the differential. Then use mass sensor on the axle for point number 2. Then just click point number 1 to point number 2, move point number 1 to point number 2, and click move entity. And now I'm going to go ahead and mirror this across, so back to hit pose plus hit normal. I already have it here, but you should too, but if you didn't, then go ahead and do that. Then plane dash hit normal, click any 90-degree angle facing the way that you want it to go, and then just right click the differential, and then shift left click rotate entity. Alright, so now weld the differential only to the axle. That's all you need to weld it to, so it can move and your wheels don't detach from it. And then go ahead and go to ACF menu and link the gearbox to the differential and the differential to the back wheels. And then link the gearbox, the same gearbox from, well, this gearbox from that, just the gearbox to the front differential, and now the front differential to the front wheels only. And now, the very, very, very last thing is a pod controller and wiring. So pod controller. Just left click that there, and then right click the pod controller and right click the seat. This links the pod controller to the seat. Advanced, go to advanced wire. Shouldn't even be called advanced, but it is, so whatever. Anyways, go to active from the engine to active on your pod controller. This basically means when the seat is being sat in, I suppose, the engine will turn on, and then throttle to throttle on the chip down here, the E2 chip. Man, I want some chips. Anyways, gear up to mouse 1, and gear down to mouse 2, or clutch to shift, and brake to brake down here on the chip. Now, one thing I did learn is that the more differentials or gearboxes that you have, like the brakes wired up to, the stronger the brakes are. Now, we all know in ACF the brakes suck. They barely work. Anyways, now go from W on the chip to W on the pod controller. Then same thing for A. Same thing for S. Same thing for D. And then the same thing for space. So in theory, we have a working car here. Anyways, guys, that'll be the end of the video, so have a good day. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.